So today we will be discussing about this ALE IDOC, which is basically called as the transfer technique. Okay, so as you can see in my screen, so it is a technology which is used to communicate between the servers, right? So if you see this, like if there are servers in different geographical location, so how we will be transferring the information from these different servers, like outbound means the data is moving out of the SAP server, right? And inbound means data coming into the SAP server. So to send and receive the data from one server to another server, we are using a dedicated network, which is called as this ALE, application link enabling, right? So this application means, you are aware, like customer master application or material master application or sale order application, like that, right? And link means a network or a connection, and enabling means to enable the link. So that is how this ALE is termed. Okay. So basically, we'll have two types of data transfer. One is this outbound data transfer, and another one is the inbound data transfer. So wherever we send the data from a system to another system, it will be called as outbound data transfer, right? The name, as the name suggests, outbound, right? So it is going out of SAP. Similarly, inbound data transfer will be like if we receive the data from a system, okay? Just huh. If we receive the data from a system, then it will be called as an inbound data transfer, right? So there will be two types of communication. One will be the communication between SAP to SAP systems, right? So say for example, you will have two dev clients and one quality client, right? So if you want to communicate between the SAP to another SAP system, so in that case, we will be using this ALE technology, okay? And the data transfer will happen via in the form of a document, and that is called as an IDOC. Okay, so that is called as an IDOC. So, and whenever there will be communication between SAP to non-SAP system, right? So in that case, EDI, electronic data interchange, is the technology which will be used to communicate between somebody from here. I think Subhashis or Babu, you are working on interfaces, right? This PI integration team. One of you is, right? Part of integration team.
Yeah, we on.
So you are already aware, right? Like how from SAP to XI or PI, we communicate. So
Mhm.
that is, and IDOC is also used. One is the file transfer method. Another one is this IDOC, right? A few other ways are also there, like I think file transfer protocol and IDOCS, and there are few other ways as well to communicate from SAP to non-SAP. So in this case, whenever IDOCS are used, so the IDOC will be first converted into XML document, and then it will be given to the non-SAP system, right? This XI or TIBCO, right? And these are called as the middleware technologies. So these middleware technologies will again convert the data into the format which will be understood by the receiver system, right? So in our case, just 1 minute. So there is one, before we move to these tools of IDOC, there are like lot of transaction codes actually for IDOCs. Okay. So so if you see this one, so this is actually WE02, where whenever the IDOCs are generated, okay, at that time, whatever IDOCs are generated, if you want to see, this transaction code is called as WE02. So similarly, so I have listed down all the important transaction codes for IDOCs. Okay. So, and there are few others as well. So I maybe going forward, we'll discuss about that. So if I say there is a partner system A and partner system B. Okay, when I say about outbound, so in that case, the partner system B, if I want to send the data from partner A and partner B to SAP system, I'll use this EDI. Okay, so IDOC is an SAP concept of business document base on this electronic data interchange standard. EDI is a standard. Okay, electronic data interchange. So IDOC is that SAP concept of business document base. Okay, and this IDOC holds the information through which we will transfer the data between SAP system to non-SAP system, right? So, so what we have to do is there is these T codes, whatever you see, like IDOC definition WE31, IDOC type is WE30, and these transaction code like processing of the record is BD87, and these all are the T codes. Okay, maybe like we will explore through these things. Okay. So this is the outbound data flow. So before moving to the outbound data flow, there are few things called as this IDOC message type and the basic type. Okay, so let me show you one IDOC in the system, and we will analyze this IDOC. Okay. So if we want to understand the IDOC structure, okay, so there are three parts. One is this control record, the data record, and the status record. Okay, so in the control record, if you see, okay, so this control record will have the IDOC general information. Okay, so which contains your like what is the basic type and the IDOC type and the message type here. Okay, so what is a basic type? So basic type present as a type of business transaction. Okay, so either there are two types of basic type. Okay, one is a master data, another one will be the transaction basic type. Okay, so if I say master data, then it contains all the information of a master data object, like material master or a vendor master or a supplier master or a sales price, like that. Okay, but in case of the basic type and the transaction basic type, it will contain all the action information in the behavior of the object. Okay, so like as you can see here, okay, so one business object can be represented by many messages. Okay. So, but SAP was designed for multi-industrial depending on the business perspective. But this specific message type for each industry will help this SAP send and receive data to partners. Okay. So now when you see this message type, so this message type, right? So this message type is an abstract of this basic type. Okay. So SAP updated these business processes according to the business requirement, and the object information in the IDOC. Okay, this will be contained in this message type. Okay, so if you see this, so this partner information, port, partner number, partner type, all these things will be stored in this control record. Okay, so the general information of the IDOC will be hold in this control record. Then we have something called as the data record, this one. So if you see this data record, so we have some segments. So here we will just get to know the IDOC technical structure and the data. So if I double click on any of the segment, do we have anything? Yeah. So any of the segments. So if you see this segment, so you can see that these things are like contained in this data record. So whatever data is contained in like this material or the plant, this is the storage location, customer, material group, right? So those things are stored in this data records. Okay, and then there is something called as the status record. So this status record will display whether the IDOC is processed successfully or it is a failure, right? So here if you see, this is like 53, correct? So that means your current status is like IDOC processing status is like successful. Okay, so this is how the like the IDOC is defined. Okay, and there are few statuses like the successful creation of the status and there are a lot of status overview, like for the outbound and the inbound. So if you see here, they had though these definitions are also there. IDOC passed to the application, and 64 is ready to transfer. So there are a lot of steps before passing the IDOC to the different status. Okay. So what we will do is I will also show you the IDOC message type. Okay. So in the IDOC message type, we just displayed here in the controlled record, we have something called as this message type. Okay. So in the IDOC definition T codes, the ports which you saw here, the partner profile and the port. Okay. So the T code for the port is WE21. Okay. WE21. So this is where the port will be defined. So if you see this, like you have to define it for any configuration if you want to do. So you have to set up the partner profile. You have to define your IDOC via WE31, where you will define the segment WE31. Okay, so here you will be defining your segment, and then your IDOC type will be defined in WE30. Okay. So this is where the basic type, and you can also extend the IDOC basic types. Okay. And if you want to process the IDOC, reprocess the IDOC, then there is a T code called as BD87. So these all T codes you have to memorize actually. Okay. Because whenever you work on an IDOC, main tools are this WE02, okay, where you will be able to see your IDOC, and there is something called as WE19. Okay, so here what you can do is an existing IDOC, you can manipulate that existing IDOC and you can reprocess that IDOC. Okay, so if you see this outbound data flow, so first what is happening, we will start the process. SAP sending program is there. We'll have to identify the logical system. Okay, and then we'll have to identify the partner profile. So here WE20 is the partner profile, where you will be setting that partner profile. Okay, so these things will be already set in your systems. Generally, you won't do the configuration, but it is always good to know all these configuration steps. Okay, so here you will be giving your partner, you will be defining your partner role. If there is a master data, suppose for example, if you want to send material master record, then in that case the message type will be matmas. Okay, similarly lot of other things are also there, like debmas, and for invoice also there is something message type, so you will get that easily from your functional. So once this partner profile will be identified before the logical system, then it goes to the outbound queue. Okay, outbound queue, sorry, it goes to the port, so which I showed you in WE21. Then it goes to the IDOC workbench, goes to outbound queue, and to the destination system. Similarly, for the inbound data flow also, when you start it, so from the outbound system, once it moves to the inbound system, it starts from the partner system. Then it checks for the RFC connection. So for RFC connection, that T code is SM59. Okay, and your logical system is SALE. Okay, where you will be defining your logical system here. Sorry, SALE, I think. Sale is the logical system where you will be defining that those and those will be actually given and configured to you, and based on that system, then you will have to use your RFC connection here. Okay. So in this ABAP connections, you will be checking, or you will be creating one ABAP connection, and then you have to test that ABAP connection. So do is you will just give your target system here. Okay, and then you make so either you can use a remote login or you can do a connection test. Okay, that is to I think you must be aware of these steps. in SM59. During the PI integration also this comes into picture, I guess. Am I correct?
Yeah, right.
Right. So, like similarly, if we want to create an IDOC, so this IDOC is an intermediate document, which I said like which contains the data. So IDOC is a group of the segments. Okay. So if you see this, it will have a group of segment which will contain the respective data. Okay, and each segment will have group of fields, right? So all the standard SAP segments will always start with letter E. Okay. And we have also the provision to create the custom segments as well. And that will start with Z1. So as I was saying, right, like for vendor IDOC, if you want to create, then that will be like CREMAS. Similarly, for material, it will be like METMAS, and for customer, it is DevMAS. So these three, four master data, if you want to send, there is also a step how you can send a master data to the receiving system. Okay. So before, I'll show you one more T code. Okay. Just so like if I want to send the master data, like ALE for the master data. Okay. So do you have a quality system, any one of you? Uh, like maybe we can test one thing. So if you guys can share, so what we will do is we will use one standard master data for material, and we will try to send that material, and we will see whether it is actually displaying in your receiver system or not. So that way we can just test it. So, but before that, okay, so the connection type I showed to you. Okay, in the port also, let me show you in the port. Say W20. This is partner profile. This one is the port. Okay, so say for example here the transactional RFC, if I say double click, oh, it has not been selected or something. So somebody has created for S4 HANA this 2020. Okay, so if you see this, this is that IDOC record type SAP release, and the RFC destination which they have created is J Sahana 20. Okay, and here actually you will give that destination. So you will have to create two logical systems. One is for the sender system and another one is for the receiver system. And in the receiver system, if you want to send any record IDOC from the sender to the receiver, you will have to set that port and you have to give the RFC destination here. Okay. So this is the work of the port. Then like you can configure the partner profile through this W20 transaction code. In this, say for example, if I check this partner type, any partner type which they have set up. So say for example, this one or this airline, right? So in this case, what has happened is the user is US, okay, and they have used this message type. So whatever, suppose if I give you the message type as metmas or cremas or debmas, right? Or any message type which will be given by your functional to configure it in the partner profile. So in that case, what you will do is you will be giving your message type, and here will be your partner number and the logical system, right? So in this logical system, once you configure it, then the logical system is what, like it is again a middleware system which will be like where the connection will be opened in the RFC destination configuration. Okay. So in the outbound partner profile, if it is an outbound one, then here we will be setting the message type. Okay, and we need to point to that message type. Yeah, so this is that message type which we will be setting. And if you see this, this is the basic type which has been created, right, for sending that outbound IDOC. Okay, so these are the two mode of the outbound IDOC. Okay, either you can send immediately each time user performs send message of collect IDOCs in queue, or you can schedule it. Okay, so this is the, so either you collect it or you can transfer the IDOC immediately. So when you collect the IDOCs, it will be scheduled, and or you can transfer the IDOC immediately. And this is the basic type which will be created. So, and in case of the inbound IDOC, so this is the inbound parameters. So in this inbound partner, we need to indicate the for inbound. Let me see if there is anything for the inbound. Huh. So if you see this inbound IDOC, there is something called as processing code. So this one. So this process code. So in an inbound partner profile, we actually need to indicate this process code. So process code, what happens? It is a SAP function where we need to perform the logic to insert or update data to SAP RAP. Okay. So if you double click in this, so there is a IDOC input, this processing with the ALV service, and you go inside this. Now here your piece of code is there where you need to process that or perform the logic to insert or update. So it will be always there with the inbound one, and there will be two types of process code. One is the standard process code. So this is a standard process code, and also we can create custom process code also. Okay. So always for the inbound parameter, you need to check the message type and its particular process type. Okay, process code. Inside the process code, this one is a standard one. Okay. Sometimes you might need to create a custom one as well. Okay. Which will be developed by the developers. So after that, these are the few things about this ALE IDOC. I'll also share one document. So in my previous project, there was one requirement where I have actually documented it. So how to send that. So let me show you that T code. Okay. So here BD10, if you come to BD10, there might be a requirement where you need to, so one material which will be created in your, say for example, your development system. Okay. And you want to send that material from your development system to quality system. Okay. So in that case, you have to use your BD10. So this is the BD10. Here, in the message type, you have to give your standard message type, which is the matmas. If you want to send the material, then you have to give the message type. If you want to send the customer, then I think you have to give the debmas. And so I told you like rest of the three things, right? So that way you have to find out the standard message type. Either it will be given by the functional or you will have to Google it. Then the logical system, you have to mention it here. Okay. In my case, suppose for development, I would have created suppose D underscore 300 or something like that. Okay. And the material which would have been created from the development system. Okay. Say whatever material is Z metal or whatever, you give it here, execute it, and then one message will be displayed called as one master IDOC setup for the message type MAT mask, and one communication IDOC is generated for the message type. Okay. So for checking the status of the sender IDOC in this development, you have to go to WE02. Okay, status on the sender system. So which I was showing it to you here, right? In WE02, I was showing you that IDOC. So you go there. Once you send the IDOC from there, you give here the like you just execute it on today's date, and you will see that IDOC. Okay. And in case of the receiver system, log into the receiver system in QoS or quality system, And there also what you can see is you can use the T code WE02 to check the IDOC in the receiver system. Okay, and you can find out the IDOC and just check that material. So that material, say for example, material 1, which has been created in the development system, if you want to transfer it to the quality system, in that this way you can transfer it. Clear? Okay, so also like what happens is we can also write custom program to send the outbound process. Okay, so in that case what happens is we will create a logical system in our sale, as I told you here. Actually we will be creating this project specific requirement. They will be setting up the logical system. Okay, let's take this logical system as log1 and log2. Okay, and in that case you will have to set up the rfc connection will be in your SM59, right, which I told you. Then after that you have to go to this BD64. I will, maybe what I will do is I will send you the steps in the IDOC for the IDOC creation. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here you will be actually creating the distribution model through which our IDOC will be sent. Okay. So here we will be giving the sender and the receiver system. Once this distribution model will be done, then what you have to do is you will have to create a program. In that program, actually, for sending the outbound IDOC, there is some function module called as master IDOC distribute. Okay, so master IDOC distribute. So this function module actually will be used to send your IDOC. So what you have to do, similarly, like what you have to do, you create a structure, say for example, Metner and MTAT. Okay. And then you have to, so you have these EDID and EDIDC. Okay. So these structures are there. EDID, these are the IDOCs like structures. Okay, where your document number, segment number, and all these things will be hold. So you create a structure like this EDIDD, and there is something called as EDIDC. This is for the data record, and this is for the control record. Okay, so these structures are used. So what you have to do, if you want to send a custom IDOC, then like how I showed you in WE02, an IDOC contains the control record and the data record. So you have to create structures like that, data record and the control record. And for message, you have to use the message types. Okay, and then you select your Metner and MTAT from the Mara. You take a structure called as imara, which will be of type that structure which you created. And then once you loop into that internal table, you use this call function master IDOC distribute. Okay, this is a function module, standard function module, which is used to send your this particular master IDOC or distribute. Okay, so if you execute it, you have to give your object type here and the master IDOC control. So in the master IDOC control, whatever receiver port, receiver partner profile, IDOC type and message type, whatever you receive it from your, or you would have created it. So those things you will have to pass it. And then you give your master IDOC distribute. And then you have to commit the work. Okay. So once you commit it, the IDOC will be sent. Okay. So for outbound, as I said, the statuses will start from 1 to I think 50, and from 50 onwards, it will be inbound IDOC statuses. Similarly, for the inbound process also, in the receiving system, you will have to create the IDOC, define the segment, same thing, same process like message type and assigning the message type, logical system, everything. And then if for inbound IDOC, there is one more step here, which is called as WE57. Okay. If I have any document for IDOC, right, I will also share along with this PPT. So here what you will have to do is you will have to in WE57 you will have to assign your function module to the IDOC type. So if you remember, I told you about the process code, right? So the process code will have the logic. So for that process code, you have to like create a function module, and then you have to assign this function module to this IDOC type. Okay. So and for creating the inbound process code, the T code is WE42. Okay, if you want to create an inbound process code, so here this is the T code where you need to create it. Okay, so these all things are there for the ALE IDOCS. There might be one requirement like if you want to send the characteristic and values of the material. So if you see one particular material, if your MM03, okay, so this is the transaction code. Let me see if there is any material where the characteristics and values will be defined. So that is called as the configuration profile. Okay. Let's see. No, it doesn't have that. Something called as the configuration material, configurable material. So in that configurable material, so in this basic structure, what you see, right? Similarly, there is one more tab called as configuration. Okay. Inside that, you will have characteristics and value. So what do you mean by a characteristics and values? Say, for example, car is, so for your car, a material is used as a metal. Okay, for that metal, what is the size of that, what is the color of that, so those particular configuration, you those things are used for the configurable material. Okay, so you can ask your functional regarding that. So in that case, you want to send that particular material to the other system. Okay, so for that the message type will be CHRMAS. Okay, and similar way the basic type will be CHRMSO01. Okay, so in that case what happens is you can create the, like you cannot, like the functional will create the characteristics and values through this T code CT04, and they want to transfer, so these are the characteristic and value for a particular material, and then if they want to transfer this characteristic via ALE, then they have to go the same like BD10, and they have to give that particular material logical system, and then they have to send it. Okay, so this is one of the requirement which I have documented it like in my last project. Okay, similarly you can also send it for classes also, like if you are creating a class for a particular material, in that case also the message type and the basic type will be CLMAS. Okay, and yeah, so these are all things about the ALE IDOC. I hope you are clear, and basically I will tell you what all real time requirements you will get. Suppose what happens in WE02, okay, they will tell you that generally we in the like in my career, I have used this outbound, sending the outbound IDOC using the master IDOC distribute. Okay, so where you will have to, whatever process I told, that way we have to follow. Or say, for example, you get this IDOC, okay, and they will say that it is failing. Okay, so let me show you the failed IDOCs. Yeah, if I give from 1/4/2023, let's see if there are any IDOCs. Okay, so we have some IDOCs. So if you see these green colors, right? So green colors means these are all successful records. Okay, so these are the material related IDOCs. Okay, all are successful. But generally what happens is if you see this status record, so this is a current status is 03, right? So that means it is a like successful record. Sometimes the IDOC will be failing, and you have to come and see the status of that IDOC, and the status record, it will say that the IDOC was not like it didn't go through, or something is failing, right? So what you have to do is you take that IDOC, go to WE19. Okay. Take an existing IDOC, say 275.318. Okay. And then you try to doesn't exist. Just 1 minute. Let me see. 3275318. 3275. So if you see this, okay, hello, you're following, right? What I'm
Yep.
trying to say? Yeah.
Yep.
So here, what you have to do is like you come to this WE19, just like you need your functional help. You will try to like debug it. Okay. So in that case, what will happen is for this particular IDOC, whatever value you need to change. Okay. So you will change that particular value. Okay, and then you have to use this test standard, either if it is an inbound one, then you test the standard inbound or the standard outbound. Okay, and also you can find the inbound function module if it is an inbound one. So this is that master IDOC distribute which I was telling you, right? So in that case, you manipulate the value and try to record and debug it. Okay, so that is how you will get to know regarding the existing IDOC failure, and you can find out the issues with the IDOCs. Okay, so this is all about the IDOC, and if I get more documents, like whatever documents I have, and the links, okay, which you can follow. So those links I will just like send it to you in the email. Okay.
If you have any documents for that partner creation and stuff, yeah, that will be helpful because
Yeah, yeah,
most
definitely.
of this port creation and stuff will be a basis team. I don't think we'll get access also to do those things.
Huh.
So,
So actually, I mean, I would say that like I have done it from the beginning to the end also, like from sale, setting up a SM59. You can just for practicing purpose, right? Just ask them the access, and you can try out one particular scenario, right? Where
yes.
you will be using the sale, then you just create a connection between your dev 100. If suppose dev 100 and 200 is there, right?
Mhm.
You try to make a connection between that, create a partner profile, create a port, use a matmas, okay, for sending an outbound material. Okay, just try to don't create any custom one, custom message type. Use a standard message type,
Yeah.
and just try to see that process. Okay, whatever I said,
Yep.
just see that once the IDOC is sent to the receiver system, how it looks like, and the IDOC sender system, how it looks like.